Hi. Normally I'd present a very happy aura, whatever the fuck you want to call it, in greeting you. But I can't. I watched oodles of YouTube's recommended I watched videos of how to pierce stuff. Well, generalizing stuff because there's a lot of stuff I've watched. Almost 90% of these videos on how to pierce something are done by unprofessional, uneducated kids. Unprofessional, fine. Whatever. Uneducated, horrific. That's horrifying. I've seen kids use sewing needles. I've seen them use safety pins. I've seen them sterilize these things with lighters. I've seen them drop them into rubbing alcohol, thinking that it's okay and it's sterile, or peroxide, thinking that it's sterile, and then using the hands that they've touched all different kinds of surfaces with, even after they've washed them. They've touched so many things afterwards during the piercing that whatever was sterile or potentially might have been sterile is no longer sterile. You know. And these are labeled how to, like, how to fix your faucet, or, how to shove a stick up your ass. They're telling people how to do this wrong. And, it's mortifying, honestly. I'm not saying that anybody's perfect or that, oh my god, everybody needs to go to a professional and that's the only way to do it right, because it's not. No, I encourage this. Yeah, you really should go to a professional or seek professional advice before you attempt any piercings on your own. I understand that most kids or teenagers don't want to wait, which is fine. I didn't wait, but at the same time, I educated myself in depth, like psychotically in depth, to make sure that whatever I was doing, I wasn't doing stupidly, like these kids are telling people to do. I've seen numerous videos that say it's okay to use a safety pin or a sewing needle, which it's not. It's really not. It's not really even okay to use the piercing stud that they pierced with like a pagoda in the mall, because it's really traumatic on your skin. It's really bad for you. You're actually forcing the layers of your skin to separate, which is honestly more traumatizing for your skin than using a hollow needle would be, to take that piece of skin out and replace it with whatever said jewelry you're using, which should hopefully be, like surgical steel grade. You're hurting yourself a lot more than you need to if you use either a sewing needle or safety pin, which is widely obviously accepted in these videos that I've seen. Never, ever, ever sterilize something with a lighter. Take the lighter, just for shits and giggles, and, take like a paintbrush, or your finger, even better, and just run it across. Don't burn yourself because you're fucking dumb. You just run it across your finger, right? And your finger is going to turn this really nasty black. And probably smell pretty bad, too. And, when you do that to a needle that you're about to shove through your body, you're actually shoving the burnt fumes of lighter fluid through that newfound piercing that you just did. So, no, sterilizing with the lighter is a lie. Don't believe that. It's a lie. Simple as that. That's all there is to it. It's not sterilizing anything. The jewelry you're using should be of a good quality and a preference. For your own personal sake, it's a good idea not to use like little earring studs in, say, your nose or your lip. It's even worse. Lips tend to swell really bad even while you sleep, and a lot of people use jewelry that's too short or just improper for that place, and they tend to have a lot of problems and eventually either take out their piercing or go through a nice amount of cleansing and suffering through infections and things like that, which doesn't always happen, but it's more than likely. If somebody's recommending that you do it, please don't watch their video, or watch it. Sure, watch it and learn how not to do it. So far, we're on a checklist of no gloves, bad, safety pins, and sewing needles, both bad. Or any other kind of needle that's not hollow. Non-hollow needles, bad. Multiple surfaces during these things, bad. So if you're not using gloves, bad. Shitty jewelry, bad. Also, another thing I noticed through most of these videos is that these kids don't use any kind of lubricant. And I don't mean like, oh my god, lube it up with like baby oil. I mean like a triple antibiotic ointment. It actually helps your piercing glide through a lot easier as far as the needle and the jewelry exchange between the needle. So if you do decide that you're going to go through this by yourself, I highly recommend on your as close to sterile as possible surface that you would have some of that around on the needle when you try and do these. Again, this isn't a professional manner at all. You really shouldn't be doing these things at home by yourself if you have a very uneducated mindset of what you're doing. Because you'd be like, oh my god, I know what I'm doing. I watched this video on YouTube. You know what? I've seen some really dumb shit on YouTube. Really dumb shit on YouTube. And a lot of people think it's the best thing in the world. So I'm kind of lacking in human faith here. But on the better chance that you're a smart person because you're watching this, I'm hoping that you encourage others to do it at least in a more proper fashion. So you would use gloves. You would use at least a sterile plate with a nice, clean, unused, never touched before paper towel. You would use hollow needles like you should, and proper jewelry for the placement of where you're putting it. Like you're not putting an earring in your belly button, or you're not putting a hoop in your tongue, or anything like that, right? You're not using ice, because ice is actually really traumatic to your skin, because you know how you smash your finger when it's cold and it hurts a lot fucking more than when it's warm? It's kind of that scenario. The colder your skin gets while you're doing a piercing, it tenses your nerves, and your nerves amplify their sensation, making it hurt 10 to 1 a lot more, which it's not helping you at all as far as the pain would go, and or for your skin either, because that makes it more traumatic. Your skin is tougher when it's cold, so that means you have to push harder, force things through it harder, and that's bad, obviously. Skin trauma is like the least thing you want. The bigger problem with non-hollow needles is the follow-through with the jewelry is a lot harder. I mean, it's not simple to do with a hollow needle sometimes either, but it's a lot easier than trying to do it with said safety pins, said sewing needle, said non-hollow needle, because the follow-through will hurt a lot more. Your skin is reclosing right behind that needle, and you're forcing the jewelry behind that, and it's not helping you again. It's really bad. It's pretty painful too. Honestly, I did it with a thumbtack. That was my first. I've done everything else since then with hollow. And if anything, guys, if you can get your hands on one, please don't use them more than once. It's a terrible idea. It's not sanitary at all. If you watch other videos, and I don't mean YouTube videos, I mean actually educational videos on needles and reusing needles, the barb on the needles wears down so fast, and it may still feel sharp, but it's a tattered piece of equipment now. It's not a good idea to reuse needles. You should not handle your needles barehanded. I don't care if you're piercing yourself. I don't care. Well, I really care, especially if you're piercing someone else. You should definitely always wear gloves, because bloodborne pathogens aren't a joke. They're not fun. They're just not good. And a lot of people are like, oh my god, I don't give a shit, whatever. No, you'll give a shit if you had a problem with that. You would. So definitely, if you're piercing someone else, even if it's just a friend who doesn't care, get your hands on some gloves and do them that much. Okay? Try and put them through as little trauma as possible. These how-to videos are how to do things wrong. I know kids think that they're doing everyone else a favor by telling them how to do things like this, but they're not. And I really hope that the amount of these videos decreases, even though they're already on YouTube. Or at least if they continue, they amplify in their education and don't sit there and tell you, oh, well, here's my nice dirty hands that I just scratched my ass with, and, pick my ears, and then I grabbed my needle and fondled my needle, and it was like, yeah, and this is how I'm going to do this, and I took my lighter, and I sterilized it with my lighter, and it's okay because I dropped it all in rubbing alcohol, and here's my hands touching all my jewelry that's about to go through my skin with that nice fondled needle, and voila, here it is. And then a week later you see them talking about their piercing, about how it's swollen or they have a problem. I mean, like, again, that doesn't always happen, but if you're gonna do it just in an unprofessional manner, do it right. Okay, just for yourselves, do it right. Not for me, because I don't give a shit. I do all my piercings myself, and they all come out fine. And I'm not saying don't do it by yourself, which, if you're uneducated, don't do it by yourself. Don't fucking do it by yourself. If you're uneducated, it's like trying to fucking build a building. It's gonna fall on top of you. It's gonna fucking hurt, and everything's gonna go wrong. Same concept here. A little bit less life-threatening, and for most cases, but same deal here. I really hope, personally, that you kids at least educate yourselves about what you're doing. If you're scared of the pain, you're amplifying the pain by not knowing what you're doing. If you're worried about sterilization, you're sure as fuck ain't doing no favors if you're dumb. Kinda that uncommon sense thing. If you want a quick cap on what you might need, you're gonna need isopropyl alcohol, commonly known as rubbing alcohol. You're gonna want clean Q-tips or cotton balls, either one. You're gonna want, take a styrofoam plate, never used, never touched. Take one from the middle of the stack. Fine. Take a nice clean paper towel, again, not touched, not used, and set it over that. You take your ointment, you put your ointment on the plate, right? Now, I'm not saying that this is legitimately professional. I'm saying this is the best way you can do it at home. Okay? You take that, you put your gloves on after you've washed your hands, and touch as little as possible. And I do mean as little as possible. Say, before you even get to that point, you would have 2 sets of gloves. That's an even better idea. The one for the setup and the one for piercing. Initial piercing. Do not fondle your needle, right? Dip the needle in your ointment, do your piercing, have a little bit of ointment on the jewelry, follow through, and hopefully you have good luck. That's my advice. You know, I'm fucking crazy. I'm completely fucking crazy. I won't deny that one at all. But I'm not stupid. So please, 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 kids, stop with the non-hollow needles, stop with the non-gloves, and stop with the fucking lighters. That's just, you want to fucking use a lighter, go to a concert and wave it around. You want to use a lighter, smoke some pot. Don't use it to sterilize your shit. You're not. And stop. Stop for the fucking love of aliens, or whatever the fuck you believe in, or your higher mental status. Stop for you. Oh, I fucking lost my thought. Because there's so many things you should just stop. Stop putting how to. Sincerely, stop putting how to. If you want to say how to do it wrong, or how I did it, fine. Don't say how to like it's how it's done. It's not. It's just not. So with all that wonderful shit being said, you guys have a fabulous Wednesday. I'm gonna go drink a beer, because I need one after this. And after seeing so many of these videos that drove me nuts. Best advice to you that I have. Biggest thing is knock it off with the fucking how to, because it's not how to without how to do wrong. Okay? Best luck with future modifications. And stop being fuckheads! Educate! Be fucking smart! And it's not just stay in school. I mean, just common. Scratch common. It's not fucking common. They lied to you. It's not common. Just some sense. Typical sense. Educate yourself before you do this shit, alright? Alright. I'm done bitching at you. Go away. Enjoy your day. And good luck.